How you doing today? I am Tequila Coleman, best-selling author, certified life coach, and founder of GodOrdainedMarriages.com. Tonight's live is on how to raise your personal standards. So come on in, come on in. If you are just tuning in, say hello. Let me know where you are tuning in from. If this is your first time catching me live, welcome. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video, and also share this out and leave me a positive comment as well. Okay. So come on in, come on in. Again, tonight we're talking about raising your personal standards. So you're going to learn, like what are standards, why we tolerate mistreatment from others. I really believe when you understand why you do certain things, why you tolerate certain things, then you're one step closer to changing it, right? You're one step closer to no longer tolerating these things and raising your standards. Okay. So we're going to talk more about that. We're also going to identify your value scale. Everyone has a value scale, and based upon your value scale, it will determine your level of standard. Okay. It will determine if you have high standards or low standards. Okay. And then we're going to talk about how to raise and enforce your standards. Okay. Hey, Miracle, can you turn the TV down a little bit? And so let me just start off just by saying this. When we talk about transformation, okay, because I want everyone to get this and get this understanding. When we talk about transforming or how to become, the woman God has called me to be, or if you are a man, how do I become the man God has called me to be? You must begin to understand there's 3 steps in this process, okay? Number 1, first, we get information, okay? We get information, we get knowledge. So tonight, you're going to get the information, you're going to get the knowledge you need on how to raise your personal standards. Now, once I give you this knowledge, so after you are listening, you hear me give you this knowledge, right? Now we got to move into understanding the knowledge that I just received, right? It's not enough for you to just get the knowledge and then be like, oh, okay, and you going about your business. No, because transformation will never happen at that level. If you only stay at the level of, knowledge, just having knowledge and never understanding the knowledge you just received, you're not going to transform. You will never become the woman or the man who God has called you to be. Okay. So number 1, we're going to get this information. We're going to, get the knowledge tonight. Once I give you this knowledge, this information, you're going to have to watch this again. You're going to have to come back tomorrow or later on tonight, watch the replay so that you can begin to understand this same information that I'm sharing with you. And once understanding has now taken place in you, that's where we move into wisdom. Wisdom is application. When I have wisdom, I can apply this knowledge that I'm now understanding to my life. And now I will see the transformation. Now I'm becoming who God has called me to be. Okay. So I hope this is clear. I don't want, I'm not here just to give information. No, I'm here because I'm trying to transform. Okay. And this is how we transform. This is how we become better. Okay, women and men. We got to get the knowledge, understand the knowledge, and then apply the knowledge to ourselves. Okay. So, hey, Rose, thank you for joining us tonight. So again, we are talking about how to raise your personal standards. Now, I hope you have your pen and papers out because I have a lot to share tonight. This is one of the topics, I could really teach this just off the cuff of my head. Because I really do have a great understanding around standards and, why we tolerate certain things in our relationship. I really have a understanding about these things and how, you just like raise your standards, wherever, whatever level your current standards are at. Okay. So when we talk about standards, let me drink some water. When we talk about standards, what are standards? So my own definition of standards are, or standards communicate to the people in your life what you will and won't tolerate, right? Standards communicates, this is how I want to be treated, this is what I will accept and won't accept, right? Standards just communicates to the people in your life how to treat you, right? You know that saying, you teach people how to treat you by what you allow, accept, or even tolerate, right? And it's so true, because based off of your level of standards, because we always teaching people something about us when they come into contact with us, right? When people interact with you, you're teaching them something about you. You teaching them, whether you realize it or not, how to speak to you, how to interact with you, how to treat you, right? Whether you realize it or not, right? So we must become aware of, first, what are standards, and, just become mindful of my standards are always showing, right? When I'm interacting with people, I am communicating something to these individuals, right? And whatever I'm communicating, I'm going to get it back. I'm going to give it back, okay? So let's talk about, why do we tolerate and accept mistreatment from others? Because I'm a firm believer in, when you understand why I do the things I do, why I tolerate the things I tolerate, why I'm putting up with these things when I really don't want to, right? When you understand your why, you can now change it, okay? This is big. This is big, okay? You got to understand your why. So why do we tolerate and accept mistreatment from others, right? I believe it's because of how you see yourself, right? Because if I see myself as valuable, you cannot, mishandle me, right? If I see myself the right way, you know, I'm not going to tolerate mistreatment, right? So I really believe it has to do with how we see ourselves. It also has to do with how we think and feel about ourselves. If I don't feel all that great about myself, then I'm gonna sit here and put up with mistreatment. I'm gonna tolerate some of these things, because I don't feel good about myself. That also communicates to me something in my mindset, somewhere in my belief system, is telling me that I deserve this type of treatment, right? So this is why I'm tolerating it. This is why I'm putting up with it, right? So if you haven't already caught on to it, our standards are connected to our beliefs, okay? Our standards reflect our self-worth, okay? Standards are attached to our self-esteem, okay? Are you all following me? Another reason why we tolerate and accept mistreatment from others is because of our own personal value scale and where it's set at, right? And when we talk about your own personal value scale, right? Um, this is something you have to be aware of, right? Number one, you have to know where your personal value scale is set at right now, okay? Because when you're not aware of it, this is why we accept this mistreatment. This is why we put up with, the BS. This is why we allow people to abuse us or disrespect us, because we're not aware of, where on the scale is my value, set at, right? And so let's talk about the scale and who set it, right? So our parents are the first individuals we interact with, right? Mom and dad, they're the first ones that we interact with. Mom and dad are the first ones who set the standards for how this particular gender is to treat me, right? So father, okay, my father, your dad, he sets he sets the standard to his daughter on how every man is to treat her, because he's her first, you know, he's her first role model. Okay, he's her first example. Same thing with mother. Our mother are the first woman who set the example of how we are to interact with women, right? So if that relationship was rocky, if it was off, if it was non-existent, excuse me, or even if it was toxic, right? Depending on how your relationship with your parents and how they interacted with you, right? That's where our scale is set at. So let me say it this way. So let's say you know who your father is, and let's say he was in the home, but he never told you, he never affirmed you, he never spoke worth into you, right? So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, because he never spoke worth into you, because he never affirmed you, let's say he was just critical. Let's say he was that type of father, was like, listen, just get it done, just the disciplinary type of father. What he was doing was, without him realizing it, he just now set your scale, your value scale, real low. Okay, it's set real low. It's at number 1, right? And so this is why when you become a grown adult, you find yourself in these relationships with these other individuals, right? Who are also treating you the same way how your father treated you. They're not affirming you. They're not, speaking any worth into you. All they see is your flaws. They very critical of you, right? You're just getting the same thing, your father gave to you. Right. And there's so many different ways how I can go this, how I could go in this. If your father wasn't around, if he was absent, again, he didn't set an example. He didn't set any standard. The standard he set in his children's lives is that this is what you expect from a man, for him not to be around. Don't expect anything, right? And so anything, nothing is what you get in these relationships now that you are an adult, right? Same thing with your mother. Your mother, she could have, been, she probably went through her own hurts and pain, but with her daughter, she competed with her daughter. She probably behaved in jealous ways. She probably was very hard on her daughter, right? And relaxed on the son, right? And so now, because what she is communicating to this daughter, right? When it come down to you, daughter, I'm gonna be very hard on you, but relax on the son. And so now the daughter grows up believing, that this is how, it's supposed to be, right? With her, right? The mother could have also made the daughter feel like she's not good enough, right? And so now the daughter is raised believing I'm not good enough. And this is why she accept, this type of treatment in these relationships with men, all because of what her parents, that scale, where her parents set that scale at. We can also apply this to, if you were to take a look at your last relationship, right? Look at your last relationship. What, where's the scale set? Okay. Where did in your last relationship, was it low value? Was it, no standards? Where was that scale set? How were you treated in your last relationship? What were the things you tolerated? Okay, because that's going to tell you where you're at on this scale. Okay, we must begin to identify, like I said, number 1, our why. Why am I accepting these things, in these particular relationships that I find myself in? And when I say relationship, this also applies to friendships. Okay, this applies to my family relationships, right? My business relationship. Why am I tolerating these things? We must begin to understand our why. We must begin to identify your value scale, okay? Because when you begin to identify, okay, this is where my parents, set the standard at, right? And when you think of a standard, think of it like this, okay? So this is high standard, this is low, right? So wherever your parents set that standard at, right? Let's say it's at a number 5, okay? So if your parents set your standard scale to be at a number 5, right? No one can go below this and treat you less than how your parents, how they treated you. Same thing in these relationships. If your last relationship, when you begin to ask yourself, how was I treated? What were the things I tolerated? What were the things I accepted? Things of that nature. And you begin to identify, okay, my last relationship, I'll rate that probably a 4, right? So when you get into a whole new relationship, that relationship can't go below a 4. It's going to either meet the standard or go above it. Okay. If it go below it, that means now you're lowering your standards for this relationship. Are you all following me? Let me know if this making sense to you all. So we must begin to identify where on a scale, what number did my parents set, for me? Because I gotta become aware of, okay, when I think about, growing up with my father, he set the scale very low. Like, you got to go there with yourself. It was very low, He didn't affirm me. He didn't teach me about men. I didn't feel all that special. You have to go there with yourself, because when you go there with yourself, it's going to give you understanding into, this is the reason why I'm tolerating this type of treatment from the man I find myself in relationship with. Same thing, with my man who watched this channel. How were you treated as a child? What standard did your parents set in your life? Because that would give you insight into why I find myself in these type of relationship with women, right? So we got to go there with ourselves, okay? Now, and here's the scale. So I drew one right here. Can y'all see this? So let me see. Here's the scale, and I want you to do this at home, okay? So I want you to get out a piece of paper, okay? Draw a line down the middle. Go ahead, draw one down the middle. At the bottom, we're going to start at, where's that? Number 1, put a 5 in the middle, and then 10 at the top. 1 is low value, 10 is high value, right? Now, let me just say this, okay? Because we get our worth from the Lord, okay? So we are born worthy, okay? It just, when we born into this world, okay, we have flawed individuals. We have parents who've been abused themselves in the past and haven't healed from their hurt and pain. And so, hurt and pain, it blinds you to your worth. Hurt and pain causes you to feel less than, unlovable, unworthy, things of that nature, right? And all of this, it blinds you to your own worth and value, right? And it causes you to feel like, I have to settle for this. But the devil is a lie, okay? So just know that you're worthy, okay? And you don't have to lower your standards to, like, you don't have to lower your standards, just to get love from this individual, right? When you understand that, because God said he is love, right? And since God created me in his image, in the image of God, I'm created. So if God is love, that means love is already on the inside of me. So that also means I don't have to look to you to love me, because love is who I am. It's already on the inside of me, right? I just got to stay connected to me and my source, God, right? Get an understanding of myself, right? So that I'm not seeking love outside of me, so that I'm not tolerating things just so I can get your attention or your love or your acceptance, right? We got to begin to understand this stuff. But when you make this scale, okay, I want you to identify for yourself, where am I at on this scale, okay? Are you down at the number 1? Right? Or are you in the middle? Number 5. Number 5 is where I'm starting to see my worth. I'm starting to place value on myself. And now I'm about to raise my standards. Okay. Or are you all the way at the top at a number 10? Be honest. Okay. And also understand what's buried, when you have low standards, that is a result of you dealing with unhealed rejection wound, unhealed abandoned wounds. You probably have a lot of unforgiveness in your heart. You've been abused in the past, feeling not good enough, unworthy, things of that nature. Okay. Whenever you are dealing with stuff like this, it is because of these things. Okay. So once you begin to heal and you begin to peel back these layers, right, that unworthiness now turns into unworthy. When you begin to peel back these layers and heal, you go from feeling unlovable to knowing I am loved, right? You go from feeling rejected to now I am accepted, right? And then as you move into this, now you're raising your value. We have low value because of how we've been treated in the past. Not low value. We have our standards are low because of how we've been treated in the past, right? Our standards are low because of the rejection, because of the abandonment, because of how the last relationship treated me, right? But once you begin to heal, get better, and grow, right, now you're starting to see yourself as valuable. Now you're growing in confidence and self-esteem, okay? And now you're placing more value onto yourself, all right? Now, when we talk about raising your standards, okay? Raise your standards. Here's some questions I want you to ask yourself, okay? I'm gonna walk you through this process. When we talk about raising your standards, I want you to ask yourself, okay, how do I want to be treated? How do I want to be treated by my family? How do I want to be treated from my friends? How do I want to be treated in these intimate relationships with men or women? Okay. How do I want to be treated? How do I want others to speak to me? You have to know this. Okay. You can't just, be winging it, right? Because that is the thing. When you have low standards, some of this is a result of because you're not even you're not ready or prepared on how you're going to respond when people mistreat you, right? One of the reasons why we struggle to speak up for ourselves is because in the moment when people are disrespecting you, you're not prepared for the response, right? But if you get ready, right, if you keep yourself prepared or get ready ahead of time in knowing, okay, if they disrespect me again this way, this is how I'm going to respond, then you're ready. Then now when it happened, when it happened, now, instead of how you used to show up, not speaking up for yourself, now I can speak up for myself. Now I can enforce my standard. Now I can, let listen, I don't like you talking to me this way. I prefer for you to speak to me this way, right? Do not raise your voice at me. Do not treat me this way, right? Now I can communicate it to you because I am now prepared in that response, okay? So how do I want other people to speak to me? What type of relationship do I want? You have to know this. What type of relationship do you want to have with people? Don't just allow people to come into your life and tell you the relationship they're going to have with you. No. Do I want to be in a toxic relationship? If not, okay. And I want you to begin to define what is a toxic relationship, because everyone probably, this is just my thoughts. Everyone, what I deem to be toxic, you might not think is toxic. So you have to know these are the signs of toxicity when they show up in a relationship, and I don't want it. I want to be in a healthy, loving relationship where it's filled with support, celebration, it's affirming, right? That's what I want. How do I want to feel in this relationship? This is a big one. Okay. Again, you should never allow people to come into your life and just have whatever type of relationship they want to have with you because of their brokenness. Okay. I want to feel good. I want to feel wanted. I want to feel accepted. I want to feel like the first, right? I want to feel like a priority. Okay. I don't want to feel, all these negative things, right? I need to know these things so that when I'm in this relationship with this individual and this individuals try to treat me how they treated, their past relationship, right? I got to nip it in the bud and I got to begin to communicate, listen, because this is my standards, my standards are, I want to be treated this way. I want to feel this way, right? And if you can't meet that standard, then I got to let you go. No hard feelings, So we have to know these things. Personal standards, it starts with us. I can't expect for someone to come into my life and read my mind. No. I have to let people know this is what I'm expecting from you. This is how I expect to be treated. This is how I prefer for you to speak to me. Do not yell at me. I shut down when people raise their voice at me. I shut down, I blank out, and I just check out. That's just how I am. So people will automatically know you raise your voice at me. You already know Tequila just checked out. She is not in this conversation anymore. But that's one of my standards. If I'm talking to you like I have some sense, I want you to talk to me back like you have some sense, okay? You cannot curse at me while we are communicating. When you start cursing, I shut the conversation down. You cannot come into my life and be critical of me when I'm sitting here affirming you. No, that's non-negotiable. Okay. So we got to know these things, okay, before we enter into these relationships, before we even accept friendship with certain people, right? You know, we find ourselves in these relationships or these friendships and we like, they were cool at first, but I don't know, you know. And then when you hold it in, you know, when you hold in, you know, the mistreatment, you know, the disrespect, things of that nature, it causes you to dread the relationship. It causes you to not want to be around the individuals, you know, when really just get clear on how you want to be treated and just start enforcing, you know, we're going to talk about that, but just start, you know, communicating your standards to these individuals so that they know. You got to communicate your standards at least one time so that these individuals know, okay, this is what they're expecting from me. This is how they want to be treated. So now that I know, now you give that person time to figure out if they want to meet your standard or not. Okay. If they don't want to meet it, okay, that's fine. That's your choice. But you cannot be in my life. Okay. Like that's the consequence. You can't be in my life. If you're not willing to meet my standards, then you gotta go. I gotta let you go. But if you are trying to meet my standards and I see, you know, you putting in that effort, I'm gonna welcome you back in. Okay. But we gotta know what these standards are. What will you accept? And what are the things you won't accept? You got to know this. What are your non-negotiables? What are your non-negotiables? I'm gonna tell you some of my non-negotiables when it comes down to relationship. One of my non-negotiable is entertaining a married man who is separated. You know how they like to ease that in there. I'm married, but I'm separated. We live in separate houses. That's a non-negotiable. I need you fully divorced, okay? Because according to God, you're still married, okay? I don't want to hear all this. We living in separate houses. That's where all that confusion come in at, whatever. That's a non-negotiable, okay? You will not get me to commit adultery with you, period. So that's one of my non-negotiable. Another non-negotiable is, giving a man money. No, ma'am, I get turned off. A man asks me for some money. You lose my attention. Shacking up, you cannot test drive me. That's a non-negotiable. Nope. So you have to know what your non-negotiables are before you meet people, before you enter into these relationships. Okay. This is how we prevent ourselves from ending in situationships, right? You end up in a situationship because you wasn't clear on, your non-negotiable. You wasn't clear on how you wanted to be treated. Or if you were clear, you somewhere in you were afraid to speak up and say what you wanted. You just went along to go along, right? And so now this turned into a situationship, right? So if we want to avoid these type of relationship, we have to get clear on what are my standards, what are the things I will and won't tolerate, what are the things I will accept and won't accept, what are my non-negotiables, okay? What do I deem to be disrespectful? What are the signs of a toxic person or relationship? Because I don't want it. Like, you got to go there with yourself, okay? And when you are clear on these things, soon as you start meeting people, you know what to look for. It's just gonna, once a person show you, who they are, it's just gonna naturally catch your attention. When a person disrespect you, you feel it on the inside of you, right? So it's like a check in your spirit. Like, did they just say what I think they said? Right? So you already know, okay, hold on, I gotta nip this in the bud. This is disrespectful behavior to me, right? And then you just, deal with it right then and there. Okay. Y'all a little quiet today. Okay. All right. Okay. Can y'all hear me? Is this making sense to everyone? Let me know. Y'all are quiet today. So again, we are talking about how to raise your personal standards. Now let's talk about how do you enforce your standards. So once you begin to get clear on these are my standards, how do I enforce them? Because a lot of people can write down, these are my standards, this is how I want to be treated, these are my non-negotiables, but when it's time to enforce it, you stay quiet, right? So how do I step into enforcing these standards to the people in my life? I'm glad you asked, so let's talk about it. When we talk about enforcing your standards, it's all about you seeing yourself as worthy, okay? I said it earlier, standards is connected to your self-esteem, it's connected to your self-worth. Standards reflects our belief we have about ourselves, right? So we enforce our standards because I can only enforce my standard to you because I see myself as someone who is worthy, right? A better treatment, right? I'm not going to sit here and ignore, I'm not going to sit here and ignore, being disrespected. Thank you, Rose. She said, yes, you're making sense. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and just keep on ignoring, this disrespect feeling I'm getting, right? When I value me, right? So no. So what's backing up my standards and what moves me to speak up for myself is that I see myself as valuable, right? I see and recognize my own self as being someone of value. I understand what I deserve as a woman, right? Or just as a human being, right? So it's not enough, like I said, it's not enough for you to just write down, this is how I want to be treated. These are my non-negotiables. Now we got to put we got to like build some foundation up under our standards so that we are now enforcing these standards. Right now I'm speaking up for myself and I'm not afraid to say this to you, because when we allow fear to hold us back from enforcing our standards, we are afraid because we subconsciously think, if I tell this person how I really feel, if I tell this person I don't like this or I don't like that or that was disrespectful, I fear they may leave me. I fear they may no longer talk to me. I fear they may end the relationship, right? And then now they painted me as the bad person. But you got to move into a space where you let that fear go and you choose you over that fear. I'm choosing me. If I gotta, even if I tell you, how I feel, and if it causes you to feel some type of way to where you want to end the relationship, cool. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to value me. I come first, not you and how I can't value you over me first. No, I have to value myself. Okay. And if the person who you are communicating your standards to, if they value you, they will listen to your standards and take your standards into consideration and then respect what you're saying to them. Whenever someone back away, pull away, want to end a relationship because you just gave them a standard, let me tell you something, they did you a favor. They was there for all the wrong reason. They not ready to grow. They not ready, to respect you as an individual. So you don't want these type of individuals in your life. Okay. So understand that. So self-esteem has to do with your belief about yourself. Self-worth has to do with believing the truth of who you are and seeing yourself as someone that's worthy, valuable, and deserving of better treatment. Okay. Excuse me. Now I want to talk about why do we accept less than best in your current relationships? That's not what I want to talk about. No. I want you to answer these questions. When we talk about enforcing your standards, okay, clarity. So here's the clarity question to help you with enforcing your standards. Number one, you got to ask yourself, why do I accept less than best in my current relationships? Okay. This is where you have to be honest with yourself. Okay. We got to be honest with ourselves. We have to tell ourselves the truth. Why do I accept less than best in this current relationship? Do I have a fear, that, like I said, if I give this person a boundary or if I speak up for myself, they're going to end the relationship. And because I fear this is why I accept this type of treatment from this person. Be honest with yourself, okay? You got to know why you accepting this. Number 2, why do I allow this person to speak to me this way? Why do you allow certain people to talk to you the way how they do, in a way where you don't like to be spoken to? Why is that? And then when you answer the question, when you say whatever your answer is, I want you to go deeper, because we got to identify the root of this problem. So who else in your past has talked to you this way? Maybe this is something, because I'm gonna tell you this story. I was dating this one guy, probably about 6 years ago. And he said something to me that gave me a different perspective, right? So I was telling him how, at that time, with my son, I was like, I'm hard on my son. I was like, I was like, he get out of line with me, I'm getting all up in his face. I had said those exact words to him. And he said to me, I'll never forget, he said, you shouldn't do that. And I said, why? He said, because he's going to grow up. He said he's going to grow up dating that type of woman. I said, what do you mean? He said, because you get in his face, the way how I said it. He said, because you get in his face, he's gonna think that's the type of woman he is to be with, because you do it as his mother. It blew my mind. I never looked at it that way, right? It was like an eye opener. And so, ever since that day, I stopped all of that. I had to come out of agreement with that mindset, getting all up in your face, checking you, all that stuff. So, and so that, and I also think that was, I think that was some of my upbringing as well. Okay. So that was that parenting, it was something I learned, okay, in parenting or whatever. But when you ask yourself, why do I allow this person to speak to me this way? And when you answer that question, okay, who else in my past speak to me this way, right? Hey, Olivia, thanks for joining us tonight. Who else from my past, talk to me this way, right? Because you might start seeing a pattern, right? And when you begin to see this for yourself, now you're like, okay, this is why I'm really allowing this individual to speak or talk to me this way, right? Because maybe it's connected to how your mom talked to you when you were a child, right? Maybe it's connected to, just how you were treated from a previous relationship, right? So you're able to identify that. And then I want you to ask yourself, why is it okay for this person to, talk to you like this? Why do you give them permission to talk to you like this, right? No one has the permission to disrespect you, period. I don't care who it is. Not even your parents. They don't. So why is it okay for this person to talk to you this way when you don't like it? You have to know your why, okay? Number 3, why do I allow people to mishandle me? Why? You have to know this. Why do I allow people to mishandle me? Why do I put up with the cheating? Why do I put up with the abuse? Why do I put up with the betrayal? Could it be, maybe, is this your definition of love? I really want you to go there with yourself and answer and get to your why. You know how we can find ourselves in these cycles, right? These relationships where you break up to make up. That's all you're doing. Every 3 months, you breaking up just to get back together, right? They cheat, you break up, get back together, only for them to cheat again, right? Why? Why do you keep going back to it? Is this what you think love is? If so, where did you see this at? Who taught you this about love? Because this isn't love. Does love cheat on you? Does love betray you? Does love betray the one it say it loves? No. So we got to begin to get honest and get real, with ourselves, and begin to question, why do I stay? Why am I putting up with this? if this person say they love me, then why, I keep having to go through this with this individual? Why I gotta keep telling this person this or that, right? How to treat me? Because love, let me tell you something about love. True love. Okay, let me be clear. Let me tell you something about true love. True love know exactly how to treat you. Okay, true love, it doesn't betray you. True love is there for you. It supports you. It walks with you. It helps you. It builds you up. Okay. It doesn't go through all this breakup to make up. Nah. It never leaves. True love never fails. Okay. So we got to begin to question and ask ourselves, am I rooted on the right foundation of what true love is? Or have I taken on, how I seen mom and dad relationship, in the past? Because however way I saw, whatever I saw my parents' relationship, I'm gonna think that's what love is. Even let's take it a step further. Let's say you were raised by your grandmother, and whatever she showed you about love, that's going to become my beliefs. That's going to become my reality of what I think love is, right? In your environment, the environment you were raised in, if all I saw was cheating, men cheating on women, women cheating on men, if all I saw was that, only for them to come back together, keep on breaking up the makeup, I'm going to think this is what love is. And so now when I find myself in these relationships, this is why I tolerate this stuff, because I just formed a belief that this is love. When it shows up, when all this cheating and betraying shows up, because I seen this in my past, oh, it's normal. Some women say, that's what men do, girl. Stop tripping. What? The devil is a lie. That just means you have no standards, okay? You have to raise your standards, okay? You don't just sit up here and give a man a pass to cheat on you. No. You place standards on yourself. You place high value on yourself, and you command that man to either commit or leave you alone, okay? So get to the bottom of your why. Why? And I want you to ask yourself, why do I tolerate less when better is available to me? Why? Or could it be you never encountered better? Because that can be why we accept less. We don't know what's out here. We don't know that better is available to us. And so we sit here and accept this type of treatment because this all we know. Let me tell you something. It's levels to this, okay? It's better out here, okay? Sometimes you just got to get out of your comfort zone. Sometimes you got to shake up your environment and go to a whole new other environment, okay? So that you can see something different, so that you can see better is available, all right? You do not have to settle for this type of treatment. You do not have to settle in this relationship when you're unhappy. Better is available to you, okay? Next question. Why do I put up with the name calling? Why do I put up with it? Why do I put up with the inconsistency? Why? That's another non-negotiable for me. You call me out my name, that relationship coming to an end that day, okay? Why do I put up with it? Because if my God not calling me out my name, how dare you think you could call me out my name? That's how you got to look at it. Because remember I said at the beginning, God, he the one who set our worth. If your father or your mother was absent from your life and that standard was never set, now we got to go to God, our Heavenly Fathers, who set the standard. And God set it high. God is at not like number 20, okay, on that scale to 1 to 10. He done went over the scale. God said, let me tell you something, okay? He said, you are precious in my eyes. He said, you are the apple of my eye. You are my most prized possession. He said, if anyone touch you, they are touching the apple of my eye. It's like they touching God. Okay, anyone offend you, they offended God. Anyone put their hands on you, they putting their hands on God. This is how much God, loves you and sees you, right? So we got to go to God to get our value. He said, you are a queen. For my man, he said, you are a king. Carry yourself this way. Don't allow people just be coming in and out of your life, just treating you any kind of way. Nah. In God's kingdom is boundaries. You can't just come in his house just any kind of way. You can't just come in there all disrespectful. You won't find them. And we gotta begin to reflect our father. If my dad has standards, I need standards. If my dad say this isn't, he's not accepting this, I'm not accepting it. Period. Okay. So I'm not, why you put up with the name calling? Why you put up with the inconsistency? You got to ask yourself that. The next question, why do I allow this person to keep me a secret? Come on now. We got a lot of secret relationships out here. Why do I allow this? Why? Call it out. Tell this man or this woman, I want, okay, I want a committed relationship. I want not an open, no, I'm gonna say it that way. I want, a relationship where, I'm being seen, not hidden. So why are you tolerating it? And if they're not in agreement for it, if they don't want it, they just want the benefits, but they don't want to seal the deal, let them go. Let them go. Next question. Why do I allow this person? Oh, okay. Why do I allow people who I know who really don't like me, who probably look down on me, who probably have overlooked me in the past? Why do I allow these individuals to have their way with me when they want to have their way with me, right? Why do I do this when I know when the real one they want shows up, they're going to drop me? So why do I keep the door open to them? Why do I allow this person just have their way with me when they want to have their way with me? Why? Because that is speaking a lot about, your standards. It's communicating something. If this person has proven to you in the past, okay, that they didn't see your value, that, they have overlooked you or rejected you, right? When they knew you were interested. And now all of a sudden, because the one they really want isn't available, but now all of a sudden they showing interest in you, right? You got to see that for what it is, whatever. I told my son that this when he was when he was in the 10th grade. No, this was in middle school. he had this little girlfriend. And excuse me. In the beginning, she was all interested in him, and then she started losing interest, right? And she broke up with him. And so I was like, don't worry. I'm over here telling my son, don't worry. Okay. I'm tell you how to do her. And so the guy, the little boy that she called herself liking, she went over there, tried to get in his ear, but he rejected her. And so she came running back to my son. I said, don't talk to her. I said, you are not second. I said, do not talk to her. You shut it down with her. I said, you let her have who she went over there running to, trying to dump you for him. Nah. And that's how you got to be. That's value. That's standard. You got to teach people how to treat you. You don't allow people just have their way with you just because, or treat you like an option. I come over here and, when I'm ready, whatever. I won't be here. Okay. So you have to know your why, okay, for why you tolerate certain things, so that you can begin to heal from it, and just start raising your value as a person. Now, here are some things I want you to know, okay? This is for my men and women, because I have a few good men who watch this channel, okay? I want you to know that you are a queen. You are a king, okay? And I want you to tell yourself this, okay? Because let me say this, one of the reasons why we have low standards is because we were never affirmed as children. We were never told, we're good enough, right? When you a grown adult and you enter into these relationships, right? It's so toxic, it's so demonic. The opposite takes place. When you're in a toxic relationship, instead of your mate, or I'm saying mate, but instead of your boyfriend or girlfriend, I don't really believe in that. But instead of the one you're with telling you, how much of a good person you are, just affirming you, they'll say the opposite. They'll focus in on your flaws, right? They're what they perceive as your flaws, right? They'll try to, beat you down with these criticisms, right? And I think it's very toxic, okay? And this is one of the reasons why we see a lot of people with low standards, okay? It's because of this toxicity, and we got to begin to break this, okay? We got to begin to see toxicity for what it is. We got to begin to see abuse for what it is. We got to stop thinking, this person who I'm calling friend, when they start competing with me, when they start acting jealous of me, that this is my friend. No, it's not. That's a foe, okay? You got to start seeing it for what it is and move away from it, okay? This is how we grow. This is how, we get better as individuals. So I want you to start saying these things to yourself. I'm going to speak some words of affirmation over you. And I want you to take what I'm saying and say it out loud over yourself every single day. Okay. But you are a queen. You are a king. Okay. You are deserving of better treatment. You are worth it too. The right one. Do not allow anyone to mishandle you. Okay. Don't allow anyone to use you again. Don't allow anyone to talk down on you or lash out on you or dump all their baggage out onto ever again. Don't allow people to just call you up and just dump their baggage out on you. No, you tell them, I am not available to talk. Give them your voicemail, okay? You got to value your temple. I want you to protect your value. I want you to tell yourself, I am a queen. I am a king. I am the apple of God's eye. I am God's most precious prized possession. I am valuable to God. I am talented. I am gifted. I am unique. I am rare. I am one of a kind. I am special. I am loved. Okay. I am worth it to the right one. You have to speak worth into you. No one, if you don't see your worth, listen, some people will see your worth. Healthy people, they will come into your life, see your worth, and speak worth into you. But these toxic individuals, if you don't know your worth, let me tell you something. They might even see your worth, but because they're toxic, they're not going to allow you to become aware of your worth. Because you got to understand, whenever you are around toxic individuals, they want to keep you at their level. Their level is very low. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, they number 1. Okay. So their goal is to put you at a 0, all right? Because they got to always be ahead. They got to have the upper hand. So their goal is to keep you down to a 0, right? Never seeing your worth, always believing the worst about you. This is why you have to get away from them, okay? If you want to be perceived as someone of high value or someone who has standards, right? Someone worthy of better treatment, you have to get away from the individuals who are bringing you down, who are tearing you down. Simple, okay? I need you to put your crown back on your head, okay? And tell these people to put some respect on your name. You got to get away from them, okay? Put that crown back on your head, okay, and start seeing yourself as a queen or a king, all right? Now, let's talk about enforcing your standards. Well, we're already doing it. So let's go into some practical work. Excuse me. When we talk about enforcing your standards. So number 1, like I was saying, you have to know, every time I go live, my daughter be right here on the couch and she just falls asleep when she hear me talking. It'd be so funny. But you got to get your practice in, okay? Because if you are someone, it's easy for you to write out your standards, right? This is how I want to be treated. This is what I will accept, won't accept. But when it's showtime, right? When you are in the moment and you keep quiet, for you have to get your practice in. So what do I mean? The people you interact with on an everyday basis. So your children, your neighbors, your coworkers, the mailman, whoever you see, the cashiers at the grocery store, you have to get your practice in. So when you're encountering people on a daily basis and they being disrespectful or rude to you, that's not the time to just overlook it. That's not the time to keep quiet. You want to look at it as an opportunity for me to build this muscle, okay? This is a muscle we are building. So if someone, let's say, someone mispronounced your name, correct them. Correct them and tell them, no, my name is, I'm going to use you, Rose. No, my name is Rose. Okay. My name is Olivia, right? Correct them. You're getting your practice in. Okay. You don't got to be afraid of that, because this is why I'm pointing out practice, because If you are in a relationship right now and it's hard for you to speak up for yourself, it's hard for you to set standards, right? It's hard for you to get this person to treat you better. That is because you probably got this individual on a pedestal, right? That is because, when you look at this person, you view them as high esteem, right? They get like high standards or whatever. And you have some type of fear with this individual, right? So instead of having you start there with that person, I'm gonna have you start small with the everyday people who really don't really mean that much to you, right? It's easy for me to give or stand up for myself to people I don't know because I don't care about, you know. But the people I care about, I might get a little timid, I might get a little quiet, but whatever. We're gonna get our reps in with these people we encounter every single day, our neighbors, mailman, cashier, you could be at the gas station pumping your gas, okay? Whatever the case may be, whenever the opportunity present itself for you to enforce a boundary or for you to speak up for yourself, I want you to take advantage of that moment, okay? Because what we are doing is building the muscle. We're going to keep working it and building that muscle because one day you're going to get that courage to say what you need to say to this person who you are in a relationship with, this person who you deem as high value, right? This person who you fear is, if I enforce my boundary, they may leave me. One day I'm gonna get that courage up and I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna enforce this boundary, and I'm not even gonna be afraid if you leave because I've been over here getting my reps in all this time. Okay, so I hope this makes sense. But like I said, you want to practice every single day, every opportunity you practice it, just speaking up for yourself. Okay. Correct people when they say your name wrong. When people become critical of you, leave their presence, right? And you can do this with family function. You know how sometimes when you have family event, you got that one probably uncle or auntie or whoever like to crack jokes, right? And some of their jokes be a little harsh, be a little disrespectful. Hey, use that as an opportunity. Hey, don't use me in your jokes, okay? Like, however way you say it, okay? But you want to use that as an opportunity, to flex that muscle, build it, okay? Yeah. So get your practice in every single day. That's number one. Number two, I also want you to identify the people in your life who break your boundaries. Identify the people in your life who refuse to treat you how you want to be treated. Identify these individuals, okay? If you have told these individuals on several occasions, look, do not talk to me this way. Do not, do these things to me, right? If you have said these things to these individuals and they still keep on doing it, you must begin to understand what they are communicating to you. They are communicating to you, I'm going to continue to be toxic in your life. I refuse to see your value and treat you better. It's like in so many words they saying, how dare you try to have value? How dare, you try to command more, better treatment, That's what they're communicating. And this is why they keep on doing it. So this is where you have to see them for who they are and make a decision like, do I want to continue to be around this? Right? Check in with yourself and ask yourself, okay, when I'm around this person, how do they make me feel? Do they make me feel better? Do they build me up? Or do I feel bad? Are they bringing me down to their level? And if so, do I want to stay down at their level when I'm trying to go up? Okay. You got to really go there with yourself. You got to go there. And if they're bringing you down, you got to understand these individuals are no good for you. You got to understand it. And you also got to understand that God is calling you higher. Okay. We are in a season where God is calling all of us higher. Okay. He has more available to us. Okay. And he's like, come on. God's not going to come all the way down, and keep trying to pull you up. No, you have to want better. You have to want to be treated better. And you simply just step in. I remember my coach, she used to always say, she was challenging me to charge more for my coaching program. And she just kept saying, just step in it, Tequila. Just step in it. And this is what I'm telling you all. Just step in it. Who cares if they leave? Just step in it and tell them no more. Okay. This is how I'm going to be treated today. If it's hard for you to, adopt to this new way of treating me, I'm opening up this door and I'm gonna let you go ahead and walk on up out of here. Okay. You cannot be afraid of walking alone. You cannot be afraid of being alone. Okay. You're never alone. Let these toxic people go. Kick them out of your life. Okay. And I also need you to understand when you are around, as you begin to identify these people in your life who mistreat you, who abuses you, disrespects you, you must begin to understand, number one, this is who this person is, okay? And this is their level. This is where they settle at, right? They don't have any goals of getting better. Okay, because if they did, then they would be sharing those goals with you, and trying to change for the better. But because they're not, you got to begin to see and understand this is where this person is at. And because I don't want to stay here with this person, I want better for myself. I got to let you go. I might have to love you from a distance, right? And so that's, you got to make that decision. Okay. And then number 3, become aware of the disrespect. I think I already talked about this. Become aware of the disrespect and prepare yourself for the response. Okay. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Okay. When you are prepared in advance, you know how to show up when the disrespect present itself the second time. Okay. Like I said earlier in this live, the reason why we allow the disrespect and we find ourselves being quiet is because in the moment when the disrespect is happening, we're not prepared on how we want to respond, right? For some of us, we don't want to get out of character, and that's cool. But sometimes you got to come out of character just to let a person know you would not be talking to me this way. You would no longer treat me this way, okay? Sometimes you just have to. Okay. Sometimes you got to get a little crazy with people. Okay. And I'm talking about not a crazy like all this violent stuff. No. Sometimes you just got to put fear in people and let them know I am not to be played with. Okay. If you want to stay in my life, this is how I'm expecting for you to treat me, period. Because that's what we're dealing with here. This is your life. Okay. So don't allow people to come into your life and shake it up. Don't allow people to come into your life because they're hurting. Now they cause you to hurt. No, this is my life. This how I'm expecting to be treated. This how I want to be treated. Okay. If you are not ready to meet me at this level, I'm going to give you all the room you need to get ready. But in the meantime, I'm going to be over here. You have to have this type of attitude, okay? Because if you keep these people in your life, if you keep hanging around them, if you stay in a relationship with them, they're going to bring you down. You may be wondering why, God, why I'm not growing. I'm doing the work. Well, who are you around? Who's constantly reminding you of your flaws, your failures? You got to check that. You got to remove these people, okay? And you got to begin to raise your standards, okay? So this is how we begin to raise our personal standards, okay? Standards start with us. It starts with you. It starts with you understanding that you are a valuable individual. You are a valuable woman. You are a valuable man. You have to see yourself as valuable. You have to know you are worth better treatment than what you're currently dealing with. You have to know I'm good enough, right? You have to tell yourself these things. I'm a queen. I'm a king. Okay. I am worth it. I am deserving of more. I'm going up. I'm going to the top. I'm leaving whoever down at the bottom who want to stay there. Okay. You got to begin to identify this is what I will accept, won't accept. These are my non-negotiables. This what I will tolerate, won't tolerate. Okay. You got to get clear on these things and know I'm not dealing with them. Okay. So that is it. That is it. If you all have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comment section. But we got to get back to becoming people with standards. Okay. We have standards, but they be so low, right? the bare minimum. You know, we got to raise these standards up if we want a better life. You know, we want to become the man or woman God has called us to become. We got to raise these standards, okay? And we have to begin to see people for who they are. You know, what are they showing us? Okay, begin to, you know, just see these individuals for who they are. And, you know, if you are a person who want more, you know, I'm full of value. You see it yourself, right? I'm a valuable individual. I don't deserve this. Get away from it. Okay. So, like I said at the beginning of this live, I don't want you all just to sit here and take the information in and then that's it. No, we are a community that not only get the information, we understand the information we just received. And after understanding, we apply that understanding so that it could bring about transformation. Okay. So, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up tonight's live. I am Tequila Coleman. Make sure if you're new, if this is your first time tuning in, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and watch the replay again. Okay, so you can get understanding of what I am teaching here. Okay, and then you can apply it to your life to get the desired outcome. Okay, God is calling for us to have better relationships. Okay, he is taking back his world. He wants to see healing and wholeness. And this is how we start this process. Okay. When you are a person of standards, you have high standards, you know, you see your own value, you know, this is where it all takes place at. Okay. So we'll go ahead and wrap up tonight. Everyone have a great night. And I'll see you all real soon. Take care.